Okay, welcome MAGFest. Hello, everyone. How are we doing tonight? Or this afternoon? Lovely afternoon it is. But folks, my name is CyricZ, and I'll be presenting the panel today for a pleasant guide to Riichi Mahjong, or if you prefer, some of you might remember me this way. One of my things I do is I've written a guide to a lot of the Like a Dragon series, the Yakuza series. So you might know me from that, and that's basically where I picked up and started learning how to play Mahjong is through that game series. So one of my goals today is just to make sure you folks understand that we're kind of coming into this from a bit of a digital standpoint, like playing through video games, playing alongside video games, usually mini games. So. The first thing I want to get out, of course, is that Mahjong is really fun. My result of having played Mahjong with through the video games was getting the bug, essentially, and just really enjoying it when I picked it up. So I do want to stress that, we're all here to come at a, beginner or amateur level. So, I don't want to expect any, there's no masters to be coming out of this panel. We're all going to be just kind of have a slightly better understanding of what we're playing here. And of course, we are just looking to have fun. So, and as I basically said, some popular games have mahjong mini games, and they don't teach you well. So, what I'm kind of trying to do is try to be a bit of a help to that, bring in a few extra back end tips and everything about not only just the Yakuza series, but also A Realm Reborn has the Domon Mahjong mini game that a lot of people are familiar with, but not all people get that. Just a reminder, of course, the Yakuza series has now changed to Like a Dragon. I have to remind everyone because it's tough to keep in track of that. All right. So one thing I do want to get a shout out for immediately is that the DC Riichi Mahjong Club is here at MAGFest. They are in tabletop right next door, and they will be running games all weekend. So from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. At this point, it's Friday and Saturday. They will not be here Sunday, but they will be here for much of the entire evening. I sat in yesterday when they were around, and they actually have a very lovely method of teaching live. So if your folks are like very beginner level, it's like I don't even know the very concepts of how to play this game, then you can go ahead on over there, and they'll run you through the tutorial setup. It takes about a couple hours to go through the whole thing because you're kind of building up from a simple way to a more complicated way of play. So unfortunately, that was not the scope of this panel, but it's a really good place to stop by. Okay, so to kick off, it's first to understand that Mahjong is a game of many tiles, 136 tiles altogether. A standard Mahjong set, at least for the purpose of Riichi Mahjong, has 4 of every type of tile. So they have 1 through 9 of 3 different suits. So here are the suits on the top. They got the character suit, you have the dot suit, and you have the stick suit. So 1 through 9 of each of those. You'll notice in the middle there's a 5, a red 5. We're going to ignore that for just a moment. But there's 1 through 9 of each of the 3 different suits. And then you can see on the bottom row are what are called the honors. There are 4 winds, east, south, west, and north. And there are 3 dragon tiles, red, white, and green. Just a reminder, every Mahjong set will have 4 of every one of these tiles except for the 5s. That's 5s and the red 5s is a little bit different. So the basic way to play Mahjong, Riichi Mahjong in particular, is as a draw and discard game. You will start with a hand of tiles. Let's start at the beginning here. 4 players will sit around a table, each have 13 tiles, and each player is then assigned a wind direction, which rotates over the course of the rounds. And there is also a cardinal or prevailing wind that governs the set of the rounds. This always starts as east. Just going to, you don't have to worry too much about that one right now, but the player at each side always draws first and then discards a tile. And play continues to the right around the table until a player wins the hand or tiles are exhausted, creating a draw state. So this is a typical Riichi Mahjong setup. The player starts with 13, and they maintain 13 throughout the game as they draw and discard. As you can see here, we're already a little bit into the actual game itself because there have been discards across the table, but basically that's your average setup. So the entire point of playing Riichi Mahjong is to build a proper hand that will allow you to win the round. Almost every winning Mahjong hand will have a common thread. They will have 4 sets in a pair. You guys remember the animation I just showed you? Sun, 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 ni. Sun, 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 ni. 4 of those is important for making a full hand. The sets can be either triplets or straights, where triplets are 3 of the exact same tile, and they have to be the exact same tile. They cannot be intersuit. And straights are 3 numbers in order of the same suit. So they all have to be the same suit. They cannot intermingle. There's also the concept of quads, but we'll get to that. That's a little bit later. But and then the last piece of it is the pair, and the pair is simply 2 of the same tile. So here is a typical winning hand. I did this one in Final Fantasy 14 style with a couple of straights there you see on the left, a 2, 3, and 4, and then a 4, 5, and 6, and then 3 triplets. You can see 3 of sticks, and you can also see a triplet of red dragons, and there's one last pair that is a pair of, I believe, north winds. So, thoughts on how to build a hand. You always want to build a hand with a purpose. You don't. As you start, you'll find situations where you are just kind of pulling tiles and trying to figure out what could possibly work in your current setup. So, just for a couple of ideas on how to build a hand, I will of course say it's always easier to make straights than triplets. There are only so many, of the same exact tile in around. So, working from straights typically is one of the easier ways to start constructing a hand. So when you think of it this way, if you get 2 tiles in sequence, say for example, I get a 3 of sticks and a 4 of sticks, then the third could potentially come from either direction. So if I had a 3 and a 4 of sticks, I could get a 2 of sticks, or I could get a 5 of sticks. The only place that doesn't work, of course, is at the end of the sequence of numbers. 1s and 9s are considered terminals. So obviously if you have a 1 and a 2, your only option is a 3 of the same suit. Let me know if I'm going too fast, by the way. And then other things to do is watching discards when deciding to keep a tile. It's a bit more advanced, a bit slightly beyond the amateur level, but for example, let's bring up that screenshot I had up earlier. As you can see, we're in a situation here where it's a pretty good hand for going right now, but there is one slight danger point. For example, if I were to consider what I wanted to go from here, the idea of Lucy on the right side, I have a pair of 2 8 dots, and the question is, of course, is it really worth it to try to go for another 8 dot? You look at your discards in this case, and you'll notice that the player across from me also has an 8 dot discarded. That's out of play. I can't use that, so that would reduce the amount of possibilities for me to win off a triplet of 8s. There are other options in this hand. This hand's got a lot going for it, but just to kind of establish that. Okay, next topic. So when you draw, you discard, you're trying to make your hands, and you'll find if you're just drawing and discarding that it tends to be kind of difficult to be putting together a hand just on your own tiles that you draw. So the idea of stealing is the idea of taking an opponent's discard, and it always has to be the most recently discarded tile as play goes around in a circle. You take the discard, you add it to your hand, and then you discard another tile of your own as if you had just taken a turn. So there are a few types of stealing. There is pon, which is the idea of stealing a tile to make a triplet. This can be taken from any other player that you're playing with. So if you had a 5 of sticks and another 5 of sticks, someone drops the third 5 of sticks as a discard, you can call out pon, and you can grab that 5 of sticks for yourself, discard another tile, play continues from yourself. So that's the idea of pon. Then next is the idea of chi, which is stealing a tile to make a straight. Remember the 3 tile straights, which is one of the sets we can make. One stipulation about chi is that can only be taken directly from the player to your left. So basically, it can only be taken from the player to your left after they discard, and now it's your turn. Those are the only conditions you can make a chi. It's a little more limiting, but when you consider the fact that making a chi is a little bit easier, that kind of makes more sense. The last type of stealing is kind of like a additional rule, and there's a little more complexity to it. But a con is basically the idea of stealing a triplet you have a triplet and you are stealing a 4th of the same tile to make a quad, essentially. This is a bit more complicated because once you make your quad, you have to actually draw an extra tile because the quad exists as its own set, even though it's 4 tiles. So you think to yourself, I got 13 tiles, but now 4 of them are occupied by a quad. This kind of ruins the scheme of 3-3-3-3-2. The quad itself is basically considered its own set, so you basically have to draw an additional tile to kind of make it so you can win from something else. There are other stipulations to a con as well. It flips what's called a Dora indicator on the dead wall. It can also be declared even if you don't steal. It's a bit more of a risk-reward kind of play to try to make sure you can get some more points if you win the hand, but it's a little more esoteric than your standard pon or chi. Oh, yes. And one of the main caveats of stealing is that it what's called makes an open hand. So when you're playing normal play, draw, and discard, your hands are closed at all times until you start stealing. Once you steal, your hand is officially open. What does that mean? Basically, that means that you have fewer options for winning the hand than you would if you kept it closed. This is another example of risk-reward kind of play of trying to get a little edge on the other players, trying to get closer to a win, but probably getting fewer points out of the hand, even if you do win. So we're going to talk about that a little more as we get to understanding what the heck is a yaku. So yaku is a concept of, in Riichi Mahjong, basically to kind of build on scores and understand the idea of, in addition to having a complete hand, your hand must satisfy at least one yaku for you to be able to win the round. So in essence, a yaku is a scoring element. It is basically, this is a thing I need to do to register points to win the hand. And it goes beyond the simple make your 4 sets in a pair. You know, almost every hand will have 4 sets in a pair anyways, but they're basically special things you have to do, like, you know, achievements you have to make, let's call it. So depending on your hand, the more yaku your hand has, the higher score you'll be able to get once you win. So what that means is that each yaku represents a certain number of what's in the parlance called han. Some yaku are worth fewer if your hand is open, and some yaku are completely invalid if your hand is open. So remember, we talked about the beware of stealing. That is the idea of understanding that if you steal, some of your hands might not be invalid. So you always want to keep that in mind. We'll get closer to that as we demonstrate hands. So there are a lot of yaku. I believe the number I got from the guys yesterday was 37 possible yaku. You don't have to memorize them. Basically, it's a really good idea to kind of understand some very basic level yaku before you move on to the more advanced ones, because the more advanced ones are far more rare, have a high, high scoring, but it's also very difficult to actually make. So moving on from that, for anyone who's playing the Like a Dragon series, just a quick tip, if you're actually playing, to turn off what's default on called 2 Han minimum, which is basically kind of stymies people to not get wins so quickly. It's easier to learn how to make hands that win if you don't have this limitation on you. Okay, so let's talk about the easiest yaku to go for. The first one is Riichi, and that is basically its own page worth of discussion, so we'll talk about that later. But another very simple, by its very name, is the type of hand called all simples, which is basically all tiles in your hand are of a suit, so they're not honor tiles, and they consist of the numbers 2 through 8. They cannot be any number 1 tile, they cannot be a number 9 tile, and they cannot be of a wind or a dragon, so they cannot be honors. There is another option that certain games have called Kuitan, and basically the idea is if you turn it on, you will find yourself able to get Tanya all simples on an open hand, which means you can steal to make Tanya, which is something that you might want to preserve in your memory to start, getting good hands, start making wins. It's easier to do it this way. Another easy yaku to go for is the dragon triplet. Just keep your eyes open for those dragons. If you have a pair of dragons of the same dragon in your hand, and the third it comes up, it is a yaku. It is a triplet of one of the dragon tiles, and it can be used on an open hand. So don't be shy if you have a pair of dragons and you see the third get discarded by somebody else. Don't be shy to snag that. Snag that as a pawn, because that is a nice, simple yaku which could possibly get you a win. Another type of triplet is called the wind triplet, or the kazehai, which is a triplet of wind tiles that match either your seat or the cardinal wind for the table, and it can also be used on a open hand. Now, if you remember, we said way back at the beginning that everyone gets assigned a wind as part of the round you're playing, and there's also a prevailing wind, a cardinal wind that starts at east. If you have a triplet of those tiles that match the prevailing wind or your seat wind, then that is a Yaku as well. So those are some nice, easy ones that beginners can go for to kind of get to the idea of, okay, this is how we need to be putting together some simple hands, racking up some simple wins, and then moving on from there. Okay, so we're putting together our hands. We're looking nice at our 4 sets and our pair, and we're basically kind of understanding that we're looking to go out. So we have some terminology to talk about for going out. The first little bit is a state called tenpai, and it's also known as ready hand, and is basically a state where your hand is 1 tile away from a complete hand. Now, I do want to stress that just because you are technically 1 tile away from a complete hand doesn't necessarily mean it's a winning hand, because you still need at least 1 Yaku. Remember, always need at least 1 Yaku to be able to complete the hand. So, also, another point about tenpai, regardless of your state of whether you have Yaku or not, if we run out of tiles and the round ends in a draw, you will get a small amount of points if you are one of the players who is in tenpai at the end. So that can be, it's pennies, but it's basically something to shoot for, even if you don't feel you're going to have a winning hand. Okay, so now it's time to talk about Riichi. So Riichi is an option to declare that when you are 1 away from winning a hand, so you're in tenpai, and your hand is closed, so there's no stealing, so you can't do any stealing for that, you have the option of declaring Riichi. This requires a wager of 1,000 points when you're playing for points, which you usually are in these games. And once you declare Riichi, your hand, the 13 tiles in front of you, are basically locked for the rest of the round until you can claim that winning tile that will give you that winning hands. Now, it could be 1 tile, it could possibly be 2 tiles or 3, depending on how you set up your hand. Better Riichis tend to be in the case where you have more options to grab that winning tile. Also, one note about the Yakuza Like a Dragon series. It does require a specific button press to kind of initiate. It's like the square key on the PlayStation or the X key on an Xbox controller, but the idea is that the Yakuza series will not tell you you're in Riichi. It's just generally a good idea if you feel you're close to kind of tap that square X or button, see if anything happens, and if a little window pops up, this is Riichi, that means you're good. If it doesn't, then obviously you're missing something, but just kind of remember that if you're playing the Yakuza games for that. So yeah, and of course, if you're also playing the Yakuza series, you also get the lovely little fancy animations when you go in Riichi, and the music kicks up and everything gets tense while the game circles around. But that actually is a prelude to actually going out. Now, you don't actually have to be in Riichi to go out. If you have a Yaku, you're good for it. But when that winning tile comes up, that is when you can declare your win. So there are 2 ways to go out: Ron and Sumo. Ron is the idea of taking a tile that an opponent discards to win a hand. So opponent set down the tile you needed, you declare Ron, you take it from them, you take points from them, and you win the hand, and it's all lovely. Sumo is the idea of drawing that tile yourself. You just drew it as part of your normal run. That is the tile you needed that wins the hand. There is a point to note that a Sumo on a closed hand is always a 1-han Yaku. So if you can draw that winning tile yourself and your hand is completely closed, that's already 1 Yaku for yourself, and it could be an additional 1 Yaku on top of what you've already got. So that can be a potential for even bigger points. So once the winner is declared, they are awarded their points, and play moves on to the next round. So, tell you, once you get your first Sumo, it's going to feel like that. It's going to feel like a major victory, and you will have basically kind of cracked the code on getting further into Mahjong. Okay. So that's the main play of the game. There's one more major topic I do want to talk about, which is basically part of Riichi Mahjong. It's kind of like a bonus element to it. It's called Dora. And like I said, this is literally bonus. No matter how much Dora in your hand, none of it actually counts as a Yaku. It will instead be applied after you win the hand. So every hand there will be a Dora indicator on what is called the dead wall, which is basically when you're playing the game on the video game, you'll see a little series of 5 tiles. One of them will be flipped over, and that will be the Dora indicator, and that is how you determine what ends up being Dora in the hand. So there's a scheme for what a Dora indicator indicates. So it's not the tile itself, it is the next tile after the Dora indicator. So the scheme for that numerically is if the Dora indicator is a suited number tile, it is the next number up. So if the Dora indicator is a 2 of dots, then the Dora tile is the 3 of dots and what you should be looking for. If the indicator is a wind, it's a next wind clockwise, basically around the compass rose, north to east to south to west, back to north. And if the indicator is a dragon, it is the next dragon in the sequence, basically green to red to white. The way I remember it, it's in alphabetical order. So if the Dora indicator is green, then the red dragon's Dora. If the Dora indicator is a white dragon, then the green dragon is Dora. So any tiles in a winning hand that are Dora additionally are worth 1 hun each. So here's another review of the situation we had up here with that posting. Some games will actually indicate for you what is Dora. So you can see, I got arrows here. So in this case, the Dora indicator is in the top left corner. It is the 1 of dots. And the actual tile that is Dora is the 2 of dots. And lovely thing Clubhouse Games does, it makes it nice, shiny, and gold. So you know, that's a good tile. I should keep that tile because that might be worth extra if I end up winning the hands. Now, that doesn't mean you have to keep it. And if it's going to mess up your hand, you probably shouldn't keep it because remember, you still got to have the winning hand. And a Dora does not count as a Yakuza. So that's literally just bonus stuff on top. But yeah, and a few other notes on Dora. There's a couple of extra kinds of Dora, essentially. One of them is called Ura Dora, or Under Dora. So if a player declares Riichi and wins, important point about the dead wall, so let me hop back over here to the dead wall. So you can't see it because it's looking top down on that dead wall in the top left corner, but that's actually a stack of 2 sets of tiles on top of each other. If you declare Riichi and go out, then a tile beneath the Dora indicator is also a Dora indicator. You get a second Dora indicator on top of that. Furthermore, remember we mentioned Khan way back in declaring a quad set of tiles. If a Khan is declared, a second tile on the dead wall in the sequence down the line is flipped, and that is an additional Dora indicator. You can combine Khan Dora and Ura Dora to have up to possibly, 8 Dora indicators. It can get ridiculous, and it can lead to massive scoring hands if risks are taken. And the last type, it goes way back to our display of tiles where there is an option to turn on red Dora. The certain 5 tiles will be red, and those themselves are straight up Dora without any conditions. You don't have to worry about indicators or anything like that. If you have a red 5 in your hand, that is Dora for the focus of winning the hand. So, my general hint for that is, turn this option on. It can help get you bigger scores. Don't forget, though, that anything you turn on for options applies to every player in the game. Okay, one last tip I feel, and this is kind of getting a little advanced, but it's basically frustrates people, is to beware what's called Furiten. And the idea is that when you're in Furiten, when you're in the state, you can only win on a Tsumo, not on a Ron. And the idea is when you're in Furiten, the most common way to enter Furiten is have a tile in your discards that is also the same as the tile you need to win. So, one of the, let's say, for example, let's go back to all the way to this picture we got here. So, for example, if I was to create a winning hand from this and I was going to use, for example, the 6 of characters, which is the second from the left in my discard pile there, I would not be able to win unless I had a Tsumo because I had discarded that 6 of characters. So, we'll look further into it when we actually get into the gameplay, but it's one of those things people will come up and say, dude, I have a winning hand, why can't I go out? And the most likely possibility is that you are in Furiten. So a less common way of entering Furiten too is like if you're in Riichi and you don't actually take a winning tile when it's the option. You actually end up in Fairy 10, and I did this accidentally. I have a Mahjong demonstration video on YouTube where I did this exact thing, and a lot of people let me know in that video that I screwed it up that way. But yeah, so Fairy 10, maybe don't think about it all the time, but it's like watch your own discards too. Make sure you have a plan when you're building your hand, because that can trip up some people. All right, very last, we're going to talk about some special hands, because almost every hand is 4 sets in a pair, except for 2, essentially, 2 types. There is a type called 7 pairs, which is quite literally what it says in the tin, 7 pairs of tiles. It's moderate difficulty to get, but no stealing can be evolved, because remember, for stealing, you can only take triplets. If you're making 7 pairs, you won't be making any triplets, which is complicated and can get dicey once you're getting down to the last pairs you need. But that is one possible hand. And the last incredibly rare possible hand to get is what's called 13 orphans. It requires getting 1 each of all of the 7 honors and all terminals of the suits individually. So you need a 1 and a 9 of each suit, 1 of all 7 honors, and basically 1 more of any of them to make a pair. Very difficult hand to get. It is worth a full, what is called a Yakuman, which is basically the maximum possible score you can get for a hand. So that's, just a few extra little notes here. All right, and so once you've won the hand, basically we move on to the next part of the game. So once the hand is over, the winds rotate with some exceptions. The exception is if the winner is the East player, then they win 1.5 times their intended score, and they enter what's called a streak, where the winds do not move. They're basically allowed to try to win again. And also the winds don't rotate if the hand ends in a draw and the dealer is in 10 pi. So if the dealer is in, the East player is in 10 pi and the hand is in a draw, we stay without the winds rotating. Once the winds have rotated 4 times, typically the game will be over, particularly if you're playing on a smaller game. They call it East only in Clubhouse. They call it quarter game in some of the other games. But if you are playing a longer game, the cardinal wind will also start rotating to south for an extended game. So, all right. So, and I think with all that in mind, I think one of the biggest reminders I need to give everyone, and just as some cope, is sometimes you're working so hard and someone just comes out with some nasty hand and you just lose. For source on this is a manga called Reform with No Wasted Draws, also known as The Legend of Koizumi. This is a manga where major political conflicts are decided through games of Mahjong. It is ridiculous. George Bush is in this. George W. Both Bushes are in this. Putin's in this. The main character is a previous prime minister of Japan, and the main character becomes the next prime minister of Japan becomes the main character. It's a wild, ridiculous manga. Okay, so before we actually get to the demonstration, a few more plugs, basically. Free Mahjong online game, Mahjong Soul. A lot of people are familiar with this, but it's a free browser and phone game. You can play against bots. You can play against bots and other people. Obviously, you're dealing with waifus, so if that's not your tea, that you might have to just kind of blur your eyes or something. But you are playing with a bunch of waifus, so deal with that. Another point, too, is if you're really looking to get more involved, and this is just kind of a plug for the American Riichi Association, nariichi.org is the rules and establishing board for Riichi Mahjong in the United States of America. So they have guidance for clubs hosting tournaments, they have support, and they have resources for any clubs that are aiming to start up and grow. And they manage the U.S. player selection for the World Riichi Championship as well. So these folks are very well involved, and the DC Riichi Mahjong people next door, they are involved in the Riichi Association as well. If you're interested, they can give you some more information on that. And also, they also want me to plug their upcoming Riichi Mahjong Open 2025 in April 26th and 27th. If you folks are local and you want to play some more Mahjong, especially because there are casual games to be played there as well. But of course, if you want to start, next door is certainly the best possible place to do it. Okay. And that leads up to moving on to our demonstration. So I'll just need a moment to switch on over to the Switch. And what do we have for time here? Okay, we're about half hour through, so plenty of time here. Goodness as I can see from here. All right, good. East only game. setting up on global tiles. One of the nice things about Riichi Mahjong in Clubhouse Games is that the tiles are all numbered. Like they have actual Roman numbers on them. They have colors separating the suits. Look at that. Nice red on the characters, green under the sticks, blue under the dots. So what have I got for this hand here? Another nice thing too, like you can see over here, there's a little note saying I'm 4 to 10 pi, which means I'm 4 possible tiles away. So this is not the best hand to start with. So what I'm going to look at, just going through here, is see basically what I've got. Got the 1, I got a pair of 2s. I might want to keep hanging around these because if the 3 comes up, I'll have a straight there. The 8 of characters is kind of sitting out there a little near the end. That might be one of the first things I might want to get rid of. Same with the 1 of sticks here, that little peacock fella. He's kind of sitting out in the middle of nowhere. The 5 and the 6 are right next to each other, and this is a red 5, which is Dora, so I'll want to keep an eye on that. 8 sitting pretty close. We have a 3 and a 6 of dots, and I just drew a 7 because I'm I'm down here on west. So a 7 of dots just came through. I also have a pair of north winds. Now, my current seat wind, you can see right next to my little character in the middle there is the west wind. So that's not going to be kaze-high for me, but I mean, I'm not going to look a pair of winds, in the mouth and discount it until we get a little further here and see what we're going to get. So to begin with, I'm going to start depositing this little peacock fellow because I do not need a 1 of sticks right now. So we're going to go around and around. Oh, look at that. I got an 8. So that gives me the 6, 7, and an 8 in a straight, which is nice. I'm going to go right ahead and get rid of this 8 that was sitting out in the middle of nowhere away from all the other character tiles. Okay, looks like easts are dropping, so wouldn't really want to go for the east wind. Oh, look, another 8. See, sometimes this will just happen. You discard a tile, and then the tile will just show up right again. And then you're kicking yourself, and then the third one shows up, maybe. We'll see what happens. But no, not this time. What I did get was a second 8 of sticks. That's kind of nice, too. A little bit. You know what? Let's get rid of this 3 because that's not doing much in a little pile here. So as you can see, we're already kind of building towards an idea of what we want our hand to look like. Over here, we're still kind of, figuring things out. We got a pair of 8s, a 6, 7, 8, pair of north winds. The red dragon, well, I like to hold on to dragons just in case, but as you can see by looking at the discards, 2 red dragons are already in the discards. What point do I have of getting a triplet of red dragons? Nothing. So I could use it for a pair, but it's not really worth it. I'm just going to keep that 4 and remove the red dragon. So that person just called Riichi, which is fine. I'm not going to throw something at them or anything. So I don't think I need that 2 of dots. Okay, now I have an option to cheat. That's what most digital games will do. They'll give you the option right there on the thing once the opportunity comes up. A lot of beginners will be like, oh, I'll just take that because I want it. And it's like, don't forget, that's going to make your hands completely open. Also, I have a 6 right now. I could make a cheat, but I've already got a 6 right here doing the job. So I don't think I need to steal that. I'm going to pass on that. Interesting. Let's see here. The 1s, and I think I'll just get rid of that 4 just to see where things go with this one. Okay. Oh, there's a third 1. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Don't clap yet. I haven't won. You can clap when I win. What do we like? Let's just what do I? The 8's up there. It's still kind of hard to see from this angle, but. How many more norths are up there? 8s are up there. So let's just go ahead and pick the 2s. Pick the 2s to get rid of. Oh, well, it's over. Never mind. Yeah, it happens. And it's like I'm working and I'm going for it. And it's like, okay, I won. And it's like, oh, well, I guess we're all just done now. So let's look over what this fella has. They've got... Well, they got a lot. So remember we talked about 7 pairs. That's what they've got. They put together 7 pairs all by their own. Remember they called Riichi earlier, so that's listed at the top there. So the closed sumo is because they have a closed hand and went out in sumo. We talked about the 7 pairs. And also those 2 green 2s, the 2 sticks, they're Dora indicators. They were not the Dora indicator on the top. That was the 3 of dots. You can see it on the 10 tiles on the right there. But the 1 of sticks beneath it was the hidden Dora indicator. So they won that as well. So that was it's also called a Haneman or 1.5 Mangan. So they got 6 Han altogether and 12,000 points plus the 1,000 back that they wagered for Riichi. So they did pretty good for themselves on that one. Yeah, that's a good start for you. And now the winds have rotated because they were the south person and they won. So what do we got here? Okay. Huh. Yeah. You know what? You know what? You know what? I only live once. I only live once. I mean, I'll keep a second one of the dragons because you always need a pair on 13 Orphans as well. So, yeah, let's just do it. Yeah. I can honestly say I've never legitimately done 13 Orphans on my own in any Mahjong game I've played. So, we'll see how it goes. What do we? Have I seen it done? I don't think I've ever actually seen it done live. I've not seen any opponents get it, no. You got to keep an eye on things like all the ones getting thrown out, all the nines getting thrown out, looking for norths here. Because, if a whole bunch of red dragons already dropped, then, I'm screwed. Oh, there's a north. There's a north. There's a north. Ooh. So what do we got left? We still got to get a red dragon. We still got to get a one of... Whoa! Ho! Oh, my God. I need a 9 of sticks. I need a 1 of characters. Can we do it, folks? Let's keep this freight train rolling. Ooh, 1 of sticks. 1 of sticks, 9 of... So 9 of... 9 of sticks, 1 of characters. 9 of sticks, 1 of characters is what we need. We're probably not going to do it, but... Oh, there goes 1 9 of sticks, another 9 of sticks. How many of those up there? There's 2 up there, 3? Oh, this is bad. This is... Yeah. Okay, never mind. Yeah, it's pretty close. I don't think I've ever had a Riichi on 13 Orphans yet, having been 1 away, but it's... So what did this person have? They didn't have much. They just have a winning hand on Riichi. So they had their straights of dots, 4 to 6 and 7 to 9. They had their pair of east wins. They had a 4, 5, and 6 of sticks and a 2, 3, and 4 of sticks. So that ended up. It's a special hands, but because they declared Riichi, that's 1 Yaku, and they got that for themselves. And they also got the 1 Dora for the Dora indicator. All right. We have a question. What's up? At the very end, I can steal the last one, but I cannot steal to start individually making individuals. Because remember, when I steal, it has to be a triplet. And 13 Orphans is way off the reservation from triplets. It's its own crazy animal. But if I had everything that was 1 away, yes, I could have taken the last tile from somebody else, but I wasn't 1 away. I was 2 away.
I had a situation yesterday where someone said that tile would have made their winning hand, and then they took it, but it was a sequence tile, and they worked to the left of the other.
Oh, was that the situation? Well, this situation, I wasn't making sequences anyway, so yeah. All right. Let's see. Well, yeah, we can do 1 more, I think. It's been going pretty quick, honestly. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, and 6, which is pretty good. 2, 6, and 8, less good, but it's not the worst thing in the world. A pair of 2s, 5 and a 7, a north wind. That's not really going to do me anything, and a red dragon. So just for kicks, I'm going to get rid of the north wind. Also, note that I am east, so I am the dealer and have the chance of getting additional bonus points if I'm going to get rid of this 2 for no reason. Oh, nice red dragon. Okay, now what do I want to... Because I got to get... At some point, you're going to be looking at hands like, well, I got to get rid of something. So in this case, there's not even a lot dropped right now. So I am just going to go ahead and actually get rid of this 6. And there's a reason for that. And the reason for that is if I get... Oh, the third red dragon has dropped down. Now remember, 3 red dragons, or 3 of any dragon, are a Yaku High, a dragon triplet. So because I haven't gotten much of anything so far this game, and because I'm in East, and if I win, I stay on East for a while, I'm just going to grab that. I'm going to grab that, and we'll see what other kind of shenanigans I can get up to here. It's kind of tough because I got some open space here, but might as well just go here. Because I've already got a pair of 2s. There's a 3, so let's do that. So now I can make a run with either a 2 or a 5. There's my 4th red dragon. Here's an interesting thing you can do. If you get Delta 4th, even if you've already pulled it aside, you can add and make a con. So I'm just going to go do that. I'm going to make that a con. And now a 2nd tile has been flipped on the dead wall up there. Okay, I don't want that. What do I want? What don't I want? Oh, there's a third too. Well, this is a crisis point now, because now it's like, if I take this two as a triplet, it's no longer going to be it can still serve as a pair in certain situations, but it's kind of like taking it away from the role of making a pair. But we're reckless. We are all young and have our whole lives looking forward to us. So I'm just gonna say heck with that. Okay, this is better, ish. And I can always get rid of that. Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do with this? I could. This is another freaking con. Why not? Oh, thank goodness! Look at that. I got a pair of fours now. So what do I need now? Someone tell me. There we go. 3 or 6 or dots. That's all I need. There it is. You can even see it in the lower left corner. It's another good thing. Another good thing about Clubhouse Games. They will tell you exactly what you need. It's very handy. All right. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry with your Riichi. I mean, you tried so hard, but. So it wasn't a very big hand, but yeah, there we go. All right, so that's 3 games, and I don't have to play the full game, because what I really want to do, has anyone brought their Nintendo Switch and would like to play against CyricZ, please? You don't have to step up or anything. Just get your Switch ready to go here. What we're going to do is I'm going to make the lobby. And anyone who, technically Clubhouse Games is a free download if you're playing on somebody else's, you're casting it as somebody else's Switch. But, I'd still suggest getting it. It's still a really nice, it's a nice game. All right. So we'll leave the lobby open for anyone who wants to join. There might be something in it for you. What's up? No, I don't want to explain Foo. No. There's a second level of scoring after Han called Foo, which can be used to determine whether or not you enter into a particular limit hand, and it's... no, I don't want to talk about that right now. Sorry. That's not the scope of this. Hi, what's up?
Hey, just a quick question.
Yeah.
Some Mahjong clients allow you to make a Yaku out of all East winds.
Mm-hmm.
Some don't. What is sort of the difference?
So, remember what I mentioned about winds is that there is a seat wind and also a prevailing wind as well. So the standard routine for playing Riichi Mahjong is you will always start with east as the prevailing wind. So that will likely be something you can keep an ear out and an eye out to say, hey, while I'm playing this east-only game, I should always be looking for easts. Okay. Because, yep.
East-south wind.
Mm-hmm.
It alternates between east and south as prevailing.
So if you play a longer game, yes, after 4 times around, it then switches to south as prevailing wind. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. All right, looks like we got some folks in here. Thank you for that question. It ate up some time. All right. Looks like we've got challengers. And of course, I have a handicap because you can see exactly what I have. It's entirely up to you if you want to use that handicap or not. But we are going to play an East-only game, and we will play for as long as we can until time. All right, kids. Step up. Show me what you got. I'm sorry, Yoroshiku. All right. So I'm actually looking at a pretty decent hand here. Not to brag to my opponents, but do I want that? I don't want that. No, thank you. Not this early. I will keep the commentary on a low level just to. So we have going for Riichi right away. That could be a good situation. It might be a little too bold, but we'll see. Hey, I'll definitely take that because that's my seat wind to the north. So I'll get rid of my south. But yeah, if anyone else has any other questions too, you can ask. I'll try to answer as I, try not to fail here. But yeah, anyone have any other things to bring up or interesting stories?
I have another question.
Go for it.
So I'm kind of sick, and I decided to try and see if there's a difference between Mahjong clients and all the different Yakuza games.
Sure.
Is there one that you find to be easier for people to get into? Like it's a little more accessible, a little easier? Because I noticed the one in 8 is just unfair.
I don't know when it comes to like individual difficulties. I feel that's not something that I can easily track. But I will say any Yakuza game that has been made on the Dragon engine will at least have indicators for numbers and what the dragons are. So
The older ones, I recently just played through Dead Souls, and that one definitely did not have.
yeah, if you're playing on 3, 4, 5, 0 Dead Souls, none of those have any number indicators. No, thank you.
There are PC modes.
Yeah, there are PC mods if you're playing on PC. That's true. Yeah. Well, this is a good way to start learning kanji, especially for those character ones, because that's just 1 through 9 on numbers.
Then you can learn how to put the cards too while you're at it.
Oh yeah. Well, Oichokabu, yeah. No, thank you.
Why didn't you want to keep the one?
Why didn't I want to keep the 1? It was, if you're talking about that 1 of dots, it's because regardless of the situation, I would need a 3. If I got rid of the 4, for example, I would still need a 3 to make a sequence. No, thank you. Now this one I might keep. This one I actually might keep, and I think I will, actually. Let's just get rid of that white dragon. That's not doing anybody any favors. Unless it will be. You never know. Someone might have the other 2. Boom, boom. I would also like to put in a little bit of a disclaimer that I might do something stupid. So if you ask me, why did you do that? The answer might be, oh shit, I don't know why I did that. Don't worry about it. It just takes a minute sometimes. It's a 7-year-old console, 8-year-old console. It's doing its best. It definitely put in the work. I think we can all agree. Yeah, 2017 it came out. Yes, sure, go ahead. Yes. I actually have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but go ahead. The one at the beginning there, you can see it. This one here. So, that's a good question. So, on its own, these 5 tiles aren't really doing me much. It can be whatever I want them to be until I get a tile that deals with the other 2 tiles. So, in this case, I can look for another 3 of sticks to make the 1, 2, 3 and a 3, 4, 5, or I can go for a 6 to make a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I will need something at some point to figure out what I'm going to do with those. Yes. I believe the term is called option select. And Reggie might be able to confirm whether or not I've got the right term on that. Sure.
So you just drew the north. Couldn't you have just did it?
Sure could have. Did I recognize that? Nope. I can't now. Oh, there's the white dragon. Looks like, Rock is looking for a win. Hi. That would, but I've locked it down because now I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So all I need now is a pair of some sort. So that's what I'm going to be looking for at this point. But I threw down the wrong tile, the one thing somebody needed. Very good. Well done. Protea, I believe the name was. Yeah. Looks like we got 3 Han, Riichi, all runs. So that is one of the possible Yaku. If you make a hand that is all runs and a pair, it's a little more complicated than that. They kind of simplified it. And they've got a twin runs too. Look at that. You have, what do we got here? I can't see from this angle. Oh, a 2, 3, 4 and another 2, 3, 4. So twin runs is also a Yaku to win as well. Pretty good. Well done, Protea. Let's keep going. Give the other folks a chance to catch up. And then I'll just throw a whole bunch of stuff in the run. Hi, question? You have to leave? Okay. You have to leave. Go ahead. That's fine. All right, we can, let's see what we're going to do. Which one were you, sir? You were, okay, cool. All right, so here's what we're going to do. Step up and get your prize for leaving early. We're going to see if we can, we'll see if we can get those 2 people back in. Well, yeah, we can still play 4-player with a bot, I think. There you go. That's your prize. And some lovely Mahjong tile magnets. Yep, Rock's got to come back in if they're going to come back in. I think we might be. Oh, if you want in, yeah, come on in. Come on in. I don't have any extra prizes though, unfortunately. I apologize. So let's go back to the title menu. Yep. What we got for time here? Somebody please tell me what time it is. Oh, we got a little bit. We'll do one more match, I think. Well, if you're okay with that, yeah, you can leave those behind. Okay. Open up again. Have it going. So yeah, it'll be choose a lobby, and then it'll just start looking for local switches that are got a lobby. And you're looking for CyricZ. Excellent. Welcome. And I have caught. I am logging the fact that Protea got that last win, so I am counting that into the final results. All the way down here. I think we got time for at least one more hand. All right. All right, that puts Zala at East. That's right. So another thing you're going to learn too if you go next door is they'll start teaching like actual live play etiquette, because that's one of the things the digital versions skip. The digital versions will be like, okay, we don't have to worry about building walls or doing it the proper etiquette of setting down tiles and everything. So I'm not getting a prize, by the way, so you don't have to worry about cheating on me. I'm not going to give myself a prize for winning. Exactly. The prize is all of you coming here and enjoying and making me happy for getting further involved in Mahjong. Okay. I like that one. Go for it. I don't have slides available online. You know what I would suggest though? I mean, I said you came in late. You might have missed me mentioning that the DC Riichi Mahjong people are next door as well. They have a lovely training method, and you can use that to start to get involved as well. Sorry. So yeah, I would definitely suggest heading on over there. They start playing at 2. So they will have like regular play tables, free play, and also tutorial play, which is very handy. It looks really nice. I'm sorry, I'm not playing. My bad. I do like this angle. I didn't have to get up at all. This is great. Okay. I think I'll do that. Sure, why not? That's a lot of options on Riichi, too. Look at that. I can get a 3, a 6, a 9. I did say that out loud, by the way, so don't throw those down. Nobody throw those down. Because I want you all to win. If I win, it's like, what's the point? But yeah, this was a good hand for me, a good setup. Because this left me with a lot of options. So as you can see, I did not press and get rid of that green dragon. It did it all on its own for Riichi. So that's one of the things that digitals will do for you too. Basically, if it's not anything you can use, it'll just toss it, all on its own. You won't have to react until there's a winning tile up there. Bum, bum. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Yep. Yep. I had a lot of options, so there was a lot of minefields on that one. But yep, I had the Riichi, and I also had a red door. Not much, but it was enough to win off of, certainly. All right. I think we'll try one more. Yeah. Well, shoot. Actually, no, I think we might have to call it there because I only got about 5 minutes left, and I want to make sure we had a little bit of time if anyone had any questions or something. Okay, so we're going to call it there. Protea. Protea, come on up to get your prize for being the winner. Congratulations. And I don't know if you already have this, but I've been trying to offload it for a while. A brand new copy of The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom.
Awesome.
Congratulations. And for the second player person, Rock, if you want to come on up. A lovely suitable for framing. Play American Mahjong. Basically, Mahjong as a card game, conceptually. I mean, at the end of the day, the tiles are nice, but you can also play Mahjong with cards or slips of paper or whatever you want. So, yes, that is for you for the second place. And Zala, if you want to come up and get the last two reaching the Mahjong tile magnets. And yeah, folks, that's about it. So for those of you who want to find me online, I'm on Twitter at CyricZ42 and Blue Sky as well, the same. Otherwise, you can also find me on GameFAQs because I'm always on GameFAQs, but I still upload my guides and everything, and looking forward to Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii coming out in a month, so it's going to be a good time. All right, anything else from anyone? Questions, comments? But thank you all for coming. Have a good MAGFest.